So we got to project. So
All right, rolling in 3,
rolling.
2, 1.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Welcome back to the Rolling Grimes Sports and Entertainment Show. Once again, we're taping here live from the Zone Restaurant under the guidance and auspices of LFP Media, Mr. Finesse Demps. I want to reintroduce, as always, myself. I'm your co-host, Mr. Roland Bubba Grimes, and my esteemed resident co-host, Mr. Self-Empowerment himself, Wilbert Skipper. Again, we have a dynamic show on schedule for you today. My first guest, as you can see to my left and your right, is a good friend of mine. He hails right here from the Washington, D.C. area. Went to high school at DeMatha Catholic High School. He was an all-star athlete in numerous sports at DeMatha. Took his career to Syracuse University, my alma mater, and also spent some time on the pro level. He'll tell you a little bit about that shortly. Right now, he is the head football coach for Bishop McNamara High School Go Mustangs. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Bryce Bevel. Bryce, man, it's good to see you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Grimes.
All right. Also, if I didn't tell you, he's also my co-author. We co-authored a book a couple of years ago.
Yes, we did.
Years ago called Bryce Bevel's Total Focus. I don't even remember the name now. Bryce Bevel's Total Focus, and his face is on the cover. So whenever you walk by a bookstore or you go to Amazon.com and you see it, that's him.
My smiling face.
Your smiling face. Bryce, you're busy right now. There's from what I understand, recruiting season.
Yes, it is. Yes,
What
it
does that
is.
mean?
Spring recruiting. That means all the colleges across the country are out recruiting our junior athletes, trying to get them into school and keep their jobs.
Now, when you say from all over the country recruiting, give us an example. I mean, we're right here in D.C., so I mean we're 8 miles left, 8 miles right. Who's coming to Washington D.C. area
Everyone.
to see people?
You got D.C. area is exploding right now in football times.
Really?
We've been known in the past to be a basketball area, but nowadays it's really getting huge with the football side. For example, this past few weeks I've had USC come to school, I've had Baylor come to school, we've had Auburn come to school, we've had Pittsburgh come to school, we've had Miami come to school. And when I was growing up back in the days, these schools never ventured this far west and east. But so that's just goes to tell you what's going on with our athletes today.
So there's some kind of shift in the football marketplace in the D.C. area.
Yes, it is.
How do you describe that shift, or what do you think it's attributed to?
Actually, I think it's our young men understanding that basketball is a numbers game,
Okay.
and we're getting a lot of former basketball players that are now playing football
Okay.
and getting more scholarships, and then also the new emergence of year-round football. I think that has really exploded in this area. You have spring football now, you have winter football now, and then you also have fall football. So these things are going on, and our young men are now being exposed to a football year-round, and that gives them a chance to be seen and be heard and also increase their talents.
And I'm also hearing about some developmental youth leagues like the GYFL, et cetera, these kinds of things. having an impact?
Yes, definitely. Spring football, GYFL, ran by Mike Anderson, was his brainchild, and now he's going into his 3rd year, and he's getting some of the top talent in the area, and they're starting off 6th, 7th, 8th grade.
Okay. Well, Wilbur Skipper is a very renowned basketball player from the Washington, D.C. area. I tried to get him to play wide receiver, but he wasn't listening. So
That wasn't going to happen.
So Skip, are you hearing about any of this kind of shift, or what kinds of things are you observing when it comes to football in the D.C. area in your conversation with Bryce? What has he told you off the record, so to speak, about what's happening?
Well, Bryce actually talked to me a little bit off the record about the wonderful things that his kids are doing at McNamara High School. And for me, it is just totally amazing how some of the younger athletes can do the things that they want to do if they are focused. And Bryce talked about that a little bit. But I want to, if I can, switch gears a little bit because, Roland, I am a homework king, thanks to my lovely wife, Sharon,
Super.
and also my business partner, Mr. Greg Hunter. They have put me in the right frame of mind to do homework.
Okay.
So I had an opportunity to do some homework on this young man here.
Tell me about it.
This young man had a very good career. Of course, he went on to Syracuse and did a wonderful job there. You correct me if I'm wrong. He played 3 or 4 different positions, which most athletes are lucky if they can play one,
Right.
Especially on a Division I level. But you did a magnificent job there, and then you left Syracuse. You had an opportunity to play in the CFL, I believe.
Yes,
Played a
that's
couple
correct.
years there. Off the records, I said to him that I believe you had a stellar career. He told me not to
He
use
won't
the
go
word
for that,
stellar.
right?
He said, don't use the word stellar. But tell me a little bit about the work ethic that you had as a student athlete and how you've been able to transition that to the young kids now that you're coaching.
Okay.
What happens is a lot of times when we're growing up, you get a chance to go through some things. I've experienced some things at a young age, and set some goals for myself as far as what I want to do with my life. I grew up in Glen Arden, Maryland. I came from a real tough home. My mom was on drugs. My stepfather was on drugs. Had a younger brother that passed away when he was 7 years old. He got hit by a car coming to see me play a game of basketball. So I learned at an early age that one thing, life is short, and you don't have time to mess around. So I took that as I started my high school career and went on and used all my efforts and energies to get into the athletics. And where I was growing up, there weren't many doctors, there weren't many lawyers. I didn't see those things, but I did see individuals making a change, going to school with Dirk Wittenberg, for example. Those guys who I set as my idols, as my heroes. So I wanted to duplicate those. But as I got older, you get back into it, and I've always wanted to be a teacher. That's something that I feel the good Lord has blessed me with, trying to teach and wanting to teach, wanting to empower and educate young people around, and he's blessed me to be in that position. And I say that too. What happens is, as the older I get, what I realize, things have not changed. It has not changed, and hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work. So it's all about working hard. It's all about setting your goals, maintaining your goals, achieving your goals, and that's what I try to and I try to place into our young men and young women at Bishop McNamara, that it doesn't change. And sometimes it falls on deaf ear, but I've been blessed to have some young men that I've coached in the past, and now they're actually coming back and talking to our younger guys and explaining to them that, look, Coach Bevel does know what he's talking about, and it really hasn't changed. I think that's the biggest thing, of trying to get our young people to understand that, look, the game has not changed. Only thing changed is the faces.
So when they come back to you, they're sort of your living testimony, what you're trying to impart. Now, you work with other youngsters, even beyond the Bishop McNamara community, in your summer camps,
Yeah.
clinics, various things. Tell us a little bit about some of the work that you do in the summertime, some of the work that you do with youth outside of even your normal 9 to 5.
Oh, we've Rhoda and I are very good friends, so it's like we're having a conversation talking about ourselves.
You're the first person, go figure.
So I've started a nonprofit, I want to say about 6 years ago. It's called Total Focus Youth Development. And I was blessed. Roland came on board probably about 4 years ago, and he actually took it to another level. And we've been able to branch out and do some camps. We do football camps, we do academic enrichment, we do tutoring. So those things is, again, giving back to the youth. Something that has happened to me when I was growing up. I remember my Boys Club coaches and what the role they played in my life. I think that's something that I was blessed with. And it's something that I feel that I need to do.
Now let's go back to that real quick when you talk about the Boys Club. Now, Skip, you started playing sports at a young age. Also, remember some of the conversation you had a little earlier.
Absolutely.
And I started a little bit later. I really started the Boys Club scene in junior high school, 12 years
Absolutely.
old. How early did you start getting involved with organized sports, and how early did you get started in organized sports? Bryson, what impact do you think it had on you long term?
Well, I think for myself, organized sports played a very big role in my life. Before I made it to the Boys Club level, I was shooting basketballs on dirt. And then it went from dirt to concrete. And then at that point, I was able to connect with some people to say, hey, Skipper, you need to check out the number 11 Boys Club. And so once I did that, I found that everything that I was learning prior to connecting with the Boys Club, it all came together.
Okay.
The structure, some of the structure was missing, not necessarily from my home, but from just playing basketball. I thought I had it all down to a science, and I really didn't have it.
Okay.
So I'm sure Bryce can talk about this a little bit as well, but the mechanics started kicking in because I had structural coaches that was giving me the structure that I needed, and by the time it all connected, I found myself going in a better direction.
Great, Bryce, I want you to hold that thought. Hey, folks, we're going to be back shortly after we take a station break for the Rolling Grimes show, but we're also going to have another guest, Mr. Ralph Clark, joining us shortly when we return to the Rolling Grimes Sports and Entertainment Show. Thank you.